Jesus Christ. I'm going to tell you another story of spiritual warfare, but this one was before I was a believer. This one was 4 or 5 years ago now, before I became a believer, maybe a year or two before I gave myself to God and became a born-again Christian. So here's the story. This is back in 2015, before I was saved, and I know that some of you guys are going to hear this and be like, whoa, but hey, I wasn't saved, and what can I say? So I was about 29, maybe 30 years old, and I just got a job at a strip club as security. Now, I'm a big guy. I'm like 6'4", 225, and so they hired me just because of my size and, you know, my personality, all that. I'm not really aggressive. I'm not really an aggressive type, and you know, that job calls for a lot of aggressiveness and assertiveness. So basically, I faked it till you make it, right? So I got the job and slowly but surely became like their full-time security guy. I got good at it, working there. Let's just say there's a lot of stories about that place that I can't really get into and I don't want to get into. And working there for a little over a year, I became the main security guard. And this night sticks out like a sore thumb in my memory banks because I'll never forget this. It happened to me. And I saw it, I still remember it. So basically, we were open till 4 a.m. and it was in Key West, Florida. So up until 4 a.m. is busy. You know, that place is party central. People are up all night doing stuff, partying all the time. So this particular night, it was about 2, maybe 2:30 a.m. and this woman comes in. Now, we never let women come into the club because they would come in, single women would come in, and they would snipe. We called it sniping. They would snipe the men. And we wanted the men to all stay there because they were paying the dancers and the bartenders and the waitresses and stuff like that. So having these single women coming in and sniping the men was bad. It was against the rules. So one part of my job was not to let any women in by themselves. So this particular night, this woman comes in and she's like, I don't know, 40, 50 years old, somewhere in between there. And she walks up to me and she's like, hey, you know, I live here, blah, 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 trying to make small talk. And I'm like, okay, cool, but I can't let you in. And she starts to get a little upset and angry. I'm like, sorry, you know, I can't let you in. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, I can't let you in. And she's arguing with me. And eventually I'm like, just leave because you're not getting in here. Just go before I call the police. And this is what happened. It was crazy. She turned around and walked away. She turned back towards me like this with a big grin, like a menacing grin on her face. She goes, just like that. But her eyes, no, this is the part that's weird. Her eyes were completely black. And I'm not making this up. This is 100% truth. It happened. Her eyes turned black for just a split second. When she turned around and she grinned at me with that evil grin, she had black eyes, completely black. It looks a little bit like this. But it was a woman. So at this point, my spine just ran cold. My blood ran cold. Shivers and all that stuff went up my spine. And I was like, whoa, what just happened? She walked out and never saw her again. But that is another case of spiritual warfare. Now, that's a little different because I wasn't a believer. And I honestly think that there was a demon inside of that woman who was manifesting itself to me just to let me know, like, hey, I see you. And just smiled like an evil grin right at me. It was the creepiest thing I've ever seen. So demons do exist. I've seen them. I honestly believe that was a demon manifesting itself. I was not saved. I was not a believer at the time. So I don't know what it would have been like if I was a believer. I guess I wouldn't be working there, if I was. So, so that's that story.